Browns beat the Titans here at Cleveland Browns Stadium 27-3, a dominating performance. And Mary Kay, let's just start with the way that the defense played. They held the Titans to under 100 yards of total offense. They kept Derrick Henry in check. They were all over Ryan Tannehill, led by Myles Garrett and his 3.5 sacks. This defense just continues to dominate every single week out.
It really does. That was 3 straight unbelievable performances by this dominant Jim Schwartz defense. And of course, this was a big day for him going against his former boss, Mike Vrabel. But I mean, they were on fire, played with their hair on fire. Myles Garrett, as you mentioned, 3.5 sacks. He was just absolutely dominant. He had the big play chain around his neck when he walked in at halftime. They really set the tone for this game. I felt like the offense fed off the defense. And boy, you just don't really want to come in here and play this Cleveland Browns defense right now.
Yeah, Ashley, it was just pressure all game long on Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, and it just felt like Myles Garrett was able to do whatever he wanted out there, which was funny because after the game, he got asked a question about that, and he said, well, I really thought all the moves that were going to work didn't actually work, but like when I just came off the edge and beat him that way, that worked. So he really had to, I think, go in his toolbox a little bit and maybe use some things he wasn't anticipating to use based on what the scouting report said. But I really think, like, even with his individual performance of 3.5 sacks, you saw how that kind of fueled the rest of this defense and for other guys to get after the quarterback, like an Alex Wright, who came up with his first career sack today.
Now, on the offensive side of the ball, we saw little glimpses of Deshaun Watson kind of returning to that Deshaun Watson form, bouncing back from that disastrous night in Pittsburgh, Mary Kay. That was a very positive step forward for Deshaun Watson.
You know, it really was. He took so much criticism all week from everywhere. People called him broken. They wrote him off, said he was finished, and he came out, he played within himself. He absolutely did not lose his cool or his composure. He played with poise. He overcame some adversity. He threw 2 touchdown passes, and I wrote about this, and I just kept laughing throughout the whole thing. After his 43-yard touchdown pass to Amari Cooper that produced the final margin, he thought he was going to do this awesome, soaring chest bump with Kevin Stefanski, and he committed to it. And he just went for it, jumped up over Kevin, expected to meet him up in the air there, and Kevin just stayed right planted on the ground. And so that was a very, very funny moment for those guys. But big, huge rebound game for Deshaun.
Yeah, and Ashley, we saw him, it seemed early on he was kind of taking what was there, and then we saw him extend. Finally, that exclamation point touchdown to Amari Cooper, who had a touchdown taken away earlier when the officials missed him not stepping out of bounds. They did call him out of bounds, but just, again, a very encouraging sign for Deshaun.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's nice to see some of those kinds of explosive plays and like a multi-touchdown performance from him. This is definitely his best game he's had statistically since being with the Browns. So I think it's trending in the right direction, even though, now I think next step, can you do it in a closer game? Can you build on this? All of those things.
Well, let's talk about that next step, because right here on this field behind us in a week, the Baltimore Ravens are coming to town, and they are going to be angry. They got off to a good start. They lost today in overtime to Indianapolis, so they, like the Browns, are 2-1. We're recording this before the Steelers-Raiders game even starts, so we don't know where the Steelers stand, but all eyes will be on this football field, Mary Kay, when Lamar Jackson and the Ravens come to play Deshaun Watson and the Browns.
You are so right about that, and I just keep thinking that the Ravens do not realize that Cleveland is Cleveland means something a whole lot different than they have thought in recent years. This is a formidable defense, so tough to move the ball on at all. I mean, think about this statistic. The Browns have outscored opponents here 51-6 this season in going 2-0 here on the lakefront. They are completely shutting down defenses. They can't do anything. So really, as long as they protect the ball, I think the Browns will probably be okay, even against the Ravens.
And, Ashley, this is the test we want to see, right? They should have beaten the Titans. They're better than the Titans. Now we get to see them go against a team that's fighting with them to win the division.
Yeah, in these last 2 years, that first game against the Ravens of the two, they've lost. So it would be good to see them get a win at home in what's going to be probably a pretty good atmosphere. We know how Browns fans are when it comes to them facing the Ravens. And it's another important division matchup where the stakes are higher, so it's all about can you keep building off of the good from this game.
All right, the Browns are 2-1 for the fourth time under Kevin Stefanski, 27-3 winners in dominating fashion here over the Tennessee Titans. I don't even think the game was that close, to be honest. We cover it all at cleveland.com/Browns.